The mistress sent me a sex tape to flaunt. I turned around and sold it. On our third wedding anniversary, my best friend Vivian texted me a clip. In it, she and my husband Harrison were lost in each other, the background unmistakably the master bedroom of our penthouse loft. The next message that popped up read, "Didn't you know? Harrison says he loves hearing me call him husband while I'm under him." I stared at the writhing pair, calm, then dialed a number. "Hello, Parker? I've got a bombshell, guaranteed front page splash. Interested?" Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and tell us in the comments where you're tuning in from. 1. The angle of the footage was sneaky, like it had been hidden inside a nightstand trinket. Vivian's face, once so familiar, was flushed crimson. The man pressing her down was Harrison, my husband of 3 years. The setting was our very own penthouse loft, that carved European king bed. I'd picked it myself. Even the dim amber bedside lamp, a one-of-a-kind find I'd tracked down in Italy. At the end of the video, Vivian flashed the camera a triumphant V2. I closed the clip, tapped on Vivian's new profile photo. A selfie. She was wearing the one-of-a-kind couture gown Harrison had gifted me. A brazen taunt. Her next message popped up. "Scarlett, Harrison says he loves hearing me call him husband when I'm beneath him. He says you're like a wooden doll, lifeless. Only with me does he feel like a real man. Oh, and today is our 5-year anniversary, longer than your marriage." I read every provocation without replying, then quietly saved the entire chat and the video. After that, I rang a contact I'd stored ages ago but never used. The man sounded surprised, cautious. "Vance?" I gave a soft laugh. "Parker, long time no hear." The undisputed king of the Manhattan paparazzi, Avery. Some rival of Harrison's had once paid him handsomely for dirt. I'd shut him down cold. I'd naively thought I had to protect my husband's perfect image. Looking back, hilarious. I've got a Harrison story, front page splash guaranteed. Want it? Avery's breath hitched. "Vance, you're serious? Vance CEO, cheating on his wife with starlet Vivian. Video and stills, enough?" Dead air. Then Parker's voice cracked with excitement. "More than enough. Vance, I've been in this game forever, I know the rules. I'll make it epic. I'll email the file in 5. Pay me whatever you think fair." I hung up and glanced at the wall clock. 8 p.m. Harrison would probably be home soon. 3. He finally showed at 10, slipping in after what smelled like a boozy dinner and a whisper of women's perfume. The exact signature scent Vivian bathes in. Seeing me on the sofa, he raised a brow, tossed his jacket over a chair. "No dinner for Mrs. Rivera tonight?" I stepped closer, smiling. "It's our 3rd anniversary, I cooked your favorites myself." His expression softened, he pinched my cheek with lazy affection. "Sorry, work's been crazy. I forgot." "No matter," I said, eyes arctic, "as long as you came home." "I always say that," he always answers, "that's why you're so understanding." The price of understanding is your own ruin. 4. Dinner was silent. He ate absently, phone lighting up every few seconds. I caught the screen name M. When he answered, a tiny involuntary smile tugged at his mouth. A needle to the heart, but I stayed calm. Love doesn't die cleanly, but soon he'd have nothing to smile about. Ding, his breaking news alert. Every Manhattan aggregator delivered the same in red. Hashtag Vance Harrison busted betting starlet Vivian, explicit tape leaks hashtag. Hashtag Dynasty Divorce? Fairy tale shattered hashtag. Hashtag Vivian Rex CEO marriage, proudly, the other woman hashtag. Each tag blazed with a crimson explosion. Harrison's face drained to chalk. He jerked his gaze at me, stunned. "Scarlett, did you do this?" I set down my chopsticks, dabbed my lips, met his rage with a gentle blink. "Harrison, whatever do you mean? Stop acting." He swept the plates to the floor, porcelain exploded, hot broth splashing my skin like fire. I didn't flinch. Compared with betrayal, what's a scald? "I told you, it wasn't me." "Maybe Vivian released it herself?" I rose, looking down at him. "Maybe she wants to be Vance." His phone erupted again. 5. Board members, Vance PR, even Victor, all calling. He fumbled answers, roaring, "Kill the story. Any cost. Scrub the trending ticker now." He slammed the phone down, eyes bloodshot. "Scarlett, are you insane? Do you know what this'll do? The stock price will crater, the whole empire could." "So?" I sneered. "Falling stock price is your loss, not mine. Collateral damage proves you mismanage, your fault. You've lost your mind. He lunged, fingers clamping my throat, pinning me to the wall. Air vanished. I stared into his twisted face. Over one woman you'd torch me, torch everything we built? Disappointment dripped from him, as if I were the traitor. I forced a smile through the choke. Harrison, there is no we. Not since the moment you screwed Vivian in our bed. His grip tightened. Just as black spots swarmed, the mansion's bell rang. He froze. I shoved him off, gasping. Outside, a frantic female voice, Harrison. Open up. Are you okay? Vivian, she actually dared. 6. Harrison's expression curdled. Reporters were already circling. Her appearance would pour gasoline on the fire. Get rid of her, he bellowed, raking his hair. I smoothed my collar, walked to the video intercom, pressed talk. On screen Vivian sobbed, mascara racing down her cheeks, pitiful. Harrison, I know you're furious right now, and it's all my fault. I never should have posted those things to bait Scarlett. Please let me in, okay? I want to explain everything to her face to face and apologize. She spoke, all the while flicking her gaze toward the lens hidden in the shadows. A perfect, calculating white lotus. I laughed softly and opened the door. Vivian hadn't expected me to actually open it. For a second her face blanked, then the fragile innocent mask slid back into place. Clutching her skirt, she tried to rush inside. Harrison. I stepped sideways, blocking her path, and blocking the view of the paparazzi flashbulbs outside. Ellis, I said with a smile, my voice pitched just loud enough for the reporters on the stoop to catch every word. My husband isn't receiving visitors right now. Anything you have to say, you can say to me. Vivian bit her lip, tears switching on like a faucet. Scarlett, I know you hate me, but Harrison and I truly love each other. We met 5 years ago. If it weren't for the family arrangement, the woman standing beside him today would be me. Oh? Is that so? I arched a brow. Yet the one standing here is me. As long as I don't abdicate, the title Vance will never rotate to you. Vivian's face drained of color, but she still had to protect her persona, so she could only keep crying in grievance. Scarlett, what exactly do you want? Harrison stepped out as well. The reporter's flashbulbs erupted into blinding white. Perfect. Exactly the effect I'd ordered. 7. I looked at the pair of pitiable adulterers, my smile widening. I don't want anything, I said, spreading my hands in feigned innocence. I'm only reminding the CEO that the woman you're shielding is the very person you cheated with. In front of all these cameras, are you planning to cement your guilt? Harrison's face cycled through livid to ashen, spectacular to watch. Only then did he realize he'd let emotion overrun reason. He tried to put distance between himself and Vivian, but she had already grabbed his arm, sobbing even louder. Harrison, don't push me away. I know it's my fault. Don't be angry with me. The reporters acted like they'd mainlined caffeine, shutters clacked in unison. CEO, what exactly is your relationship with Morgan? Do you intend to divorce Vance? Morgan, don't you feel any shame for breaking up a marriage? Harrison's PR team arrived at last, fighting tooth and nail to push the press aside and shepherd Harrison and Vivian into a waiting car. Tires screeched as it tore away, leaving chaos in its wake. I closed the door, cutting off the uproar outside. The living room was a disaster zone, as though a war had just swept through. Blisters had risen where I'd scalded my hand, the burn throbbed, but I acted as if I felt nothing and began to pick up the shards of porcelain with deliberate calm. Tonight is only the opening act. Harrison, Vivian, for every ounce of pain you poured on me, I will decant it back, 100-fold, 1,000-fold. 8. The following morning, the Vance stock price opened and slammed straight into the board, limit down. The headline #Vance market cap wipeout 10 billion hashtag dominated the financial front page splash. I was savoring my coffee and admiring my handiwork when an unfamiliar number lit up my phone, Vance's ancestral home. My ever-haughty mother-in-law Eleanor's voice crackled with contained fury. Scarlett, get your ass back here this instant. I drained the last drop of coffee before answering at leisure. Mother, what can I do for you? Still daring to call me mother? Look at the disgrace you've dumped on the Vance name, she roared through the receiver. You've got it wrong, mother, I chuckled. The disgrace belongs to your son who can't keep his zipper shut, not to the victim, me. You viper. You're bent on ruining Harrison, on destroying us all. I'm merely retrieving what belongs to me. Obey me at once, hold a press conference and tell the world that video is doctored, that you fabricated it to frame Harrison. I burst out laughing as though she'd cracked the joke of the century. Mother, senility kicking in? You want me to vouch for those two cheating dogs? Not in this lifetime. On the other end, Eleanor panted, speechless for a moment. Don't forget, your brother's headquarters still relies on Vance capital. One word from me and Maxwell will be bankrupt, your surname wiped out of Manhattan. Same old tune. She always uses my brother's company to keep me on a choke chain. Not anymore. The day I received that footage, I liquidated every private asset and share I owned, quietly covered Maxwell's funding gaps, and locked in several overseas contracts for him. Today's Vance no longer needs to bow to any Vance. Try me, mother, I said breezily. We'll see whether Vance disappears first, or its share price dives below IPO level. I hung up with crisp finality. Listening to the dead tone, Eleanor hurled her phone against the wall. I changed into a tailored suit, applied flawless makeup, and drove to Vance headquarters. 9. Maxwell was in a senior exec meeting when I arrived. Startled to see me, he adjourned instantly and ushered me into his office. Sis, what are you doing here? Did the Vance clan give you grief? Worry lined his face. With the press blaze, of course he knew. I shook my head and slid a folder toward him. All my real estate deeds and equity transfers, have the lawyers file them. Maxwell paled. Sis, what's this? You're divorcing Harrison? Correct. But what about the company? If Vance pulls its investment, relax, they can't. And I'm not stopping there, I'm acquiring their shares. His eyes ballooned. Acquire Vance? With what money? Leave the financing to me. Maxwell stared, questions crowding his tongue, but finally he nodded hard. I trust you. Since childhood, little brother has always followed my lead. It's why I'm happy to back him. 10. After leaving Vance, I arranged to meet Parker at a tucked-away tea house called Velvet. He was already there. The moment he spotted me, he jumped up and greeted me respectfully. Mrs. Jordan. I pushed a thick envelope across the table. Your fee. Parker peeked inside and his eyeballs nearly rolled out. Jordan, you're too generous, this is. Take it. I lifted my teacup and blew on the steam. I need another favor. He pocketed the envelope at once. Just say the word, Parker, will walk through fire. Keep Harrison and Vivian under 24-hour surveillance. Every move, every breath, I want transcripts. And dig through every deal Vance inked these past 5 years, especially the shady ones. The dirtier the details, the better. Parker looked troubled. Jordan, internal Vance paperwork isn't easy to pry loose. I know the difficulty. I set the cup down and locked eyes with him. But you'll enjoy watching Vance crumble, won't you? Parker, Manhattan's ringleader of paparazzi, had never dared dump Harrison's dirt so brazenly. I was certain someone had his back, someone who detested Harrison. Parker's grin evaporated. After a long beat he promised, Jordan, relax. Within 3 days I'll put what you want in your hand. With Parker locked down, I strolled out of Velvet in a fine mood. The moment I hit the sidewalk, a familiar Bentley purred at the curb. 11. The window glided down and Harrison's storm cloud face appeared. Get in, he ordered. I pretended I hadn't heard and kept walking. He vaulted out, seized my wrist. Scarlett, how much longer are you going to keep this up? Keep this up? I flung his hand off and stared ice. Harrison, in your eyes is this just me throwing a tantrum? He inhaled, fighting the rage, voice softening. Little Jean, I know I screwed up. I never should have touched Vivian, but we've had years together. Are you really going to torch everything over a tiny slip? Tiny slip? I almost laughed in his face. Harrison, you call cheating inside our marriage a tiny slip? It was a one-time accident, he protested. I was drunk that night, Vivian came to comfort me, you comforted each other in my own bed? I cut in, each word a scalpel. Harrison, stop insulting my IQ. You and she, 5 years, right? His face bleached. He hadn't expected me to know that much. She told you? A murderous flicker shot through his eyes. That woman screws up everything she touches. Watching him, I realized the taunting texts Vivian had bombarded me with had never been sent with his okay, maybe without his knowledge at all. The lovebirds weren't as inseparable as they pretended, just 2 users scratching each other's backs. Who told me is irrelevant. I stepped back, widening the space between us. What matters is, Harrison, let's get divorced. No. He didn't even blink. Scarlett, I won't divorce. The title Vance stays yours. A cold snort tore from my throat. Afraid a divorce will ding your reputation and Vance's stock price? Hit dead center, his face darkened further. I get that you're furious, he murmured, attempting soothing mode. Scarlett, name your price. Designer bags, jewels, supercars, real estate, whatever, it's yours. He still thought I was the old me, a girl you could hush with shiny things. What I want, you can't afford, I said, slow and distinct. I want you and Vance rotting in the gutter. His pupils shrank, the last trace of warmth vanished. Scarlett, you really want scorched earth? You drew the first torch. We parted in fresh hostility. I knew Harrison wouldn't let it lie. 12. Sure enough, the next morning the internet flooded with whitewashing press releases. Everyone painted Vivian the scheming seductress and Harrison the decent guy who'd simply stumbled. Just one of those everyman mistakes. They even seeded old photos of Harrison and me smiling like soulmates, crafting the tale that he'd adored me until that femme fatale clouded his judgment. Bot army swarmed the comment sections, accusing me of blowing things out of proportion, of lacking grace. So the CEO strayed, he's sorry. Vance should forgive. Yeah, torching your marriage over a side piece? Not worth it. Scarlett's no angel either. Bet she drove him to cheat. Reading that upside-down drivel, I almost admired the audacity. Harrison's PR flacks knew their craft. Too bad their opponent was me. I ignored the noise and speed-dialed my legal squad, officially filing for divorce in family court. I demanded an even split of all marital property. No prenup meant I could walk away with half his net worth, exactly what the statute allowed. The headline detonated instantly, knocking Vance's stock downhill again. Eleanor collapsed and was rushed to the hospital. Harrison, cornered and frantic, requested a sit-down. We met in a private room at an elite midtown club. He arrived first, a set of divorce papers lay in front of him. Scarlett, you win. Exhaustion hollowed his face, bruise-colored half-moons ringed his eyes. Sign, and everything except my Vance shares is yours. I scanned the list: mansions, supercars, one-of-a-kind jewelry, enough to keep me pampered for life. Trash metal, all of it. I slid the papers back. I already told you, I want Vance equity. Dream on. He exploded. Scarlett, this is charity thanks to our wedding album. Push me further and you get zip. Charity? I sneered. That account emptied the night you mounted Vivian. So it's mutually assured destruction, is it? Correction, fish dies, net stays intact. I hadn't come for divorce alone. I'd come for the entire Vance empire to serve as his coffin. Talks froze again. Just then the door burst open. 13. Vivian, in virginal white, stumbled in, mascara rivers streaking her cheeks. Harrison. She flung herself at him, clutching his arm. You promised you'd marry me. Harrison's skin mottled, he hurled her off. What the hell are you doing here? Who told you to come? Get out. No. Vivian sobbed, shaking her head. Harrison, the whole internet spits on me. Why's your team dumping every blame on me? We love each other. You swore once Vance swallowed her family firm you'd put a ring on me. The intel floodgates opened wide. I narrowed my eyes at Harrison. So that was the endgame. Marry me, milk the Vance dynasty, then cannibalize it. Classic bait and burn. Harrison, you're more venomous than I calculated. His expression curdled beyond ugly. He never imagined his soft-skinned confidant would shank him in public at the clinch moment. You're raving, he barked, voice lethal. But Vivian ignored the red light. I'm not. You said Scarlett is just a pretty airhead, that Vance would slide into your pocket sooner or later. Each sentence paled him another shade. My own pulse stayed flat. I felt nothing, no stab, no pinch, watching the mutts chew each other. Enough. Harrison's hand cracked across her cheek, a whip crack in the silk-lined room. Vivian crashed to the carpet, palms to her face, disbelief gaping up at him. You hit me? I'm hitting the idiot who wrecked my blueprint. I only love you so much, Vivian sobbed harder. I was scared you'd leave me. Love me? Harrison cracked a bitter laugh. He crouched, pinched her chin, and stared down with chilling cruelty. What you love is the title Vance, the Vance fortune. I'm in. Shut it. He flung her hand away, rose, and straightened his rumpled collar, every inch the haughty prince again. He looked at me, eyes unreadable. Scarlett, what she babbled, pure nonsense. Don't believe a word. I smiled. Even now he still tried to lie. Harrison. I rose, stepped to him, met his gaze full on. Do you really think I believe you? His throat bobbed, he said nothing. You know my only regret? Not that I once loved you, I told him. That I didn't strip you of everything the first time you cheated. I turned and walked out. Behind me, Vivian screamed until her voice shredded, and Harrison's muffled roar followed. I knew they were finished. And my revenge had only just begun. 14. Parker came through fast. On the third day he slid an encrypted drive across the table. Inside were file-clogged folders covering Vance's last 5 years of deals, especially the overseas acquisitions. Balance sheets were chaos, cash flows vanished into ghost accounts, clear signs of money laundering and tax evasion. Enough to keep Harrison caged for decades. But I had no urge to dump everything on the feds. Cat and mouse loses its flavor unless you drag it. I mailed one anonymous report pointing out Vance's tax fraud to the IRS task force, leaned back, and waited for the show. Sure enough, the next morning a special audit team marched into headquarters with cameras flashing. Already wobbling, Vance stock nosedived through its IPO price. Panic-stricken shareholders dumped blocks of shares, and Maxwell's small trades quietly hoovered them up. Harrison ran everywhere begging favors and slammed into slammed doors. When the wall starts to crumble, every sledgehammer comes out. That night an unexpected call lit my phone, Victor himself. The old street king of Manhattan sounded weary, age suddenly catching up. Emery, let's meet, he said. I agreed. 15. We met at the Vance townhouse, the same stone manor I'd first entered years ago. Nothing had changed, except the people. Victor sat in a carved rosewood chair, prayer beads sliding through his fingers, new lines etched deep across his forehead. Sit, he said, nodding at the opposite chair. I obeyed. A maid poured tea then vanished. We were alone amid lacquered silence. Child, call it off, he began. I know Harrison wronged you, but Vance must stand. Ask for any compensation, I'll grant it, just withdraw the lawsuit and hand over the evidence. Grandfather, I answered levelly, if what I want is for Harrison to end up with nothing. The beads stopped rolling, his cloudy eyes sharpened. Leave a blade of grass for later, kid. I gave a light laugh. Later doesn't interest me. Victor's face hardened fully. You think you and that green little brother of yours can topple Vance? He sniffed. Naive, Scarlet, naive. We'll see whose outlook is naive, soon. I lifted the teacup, inhaled the aroma. And if I decide neither you nor your brother will walk out of Manhattan? Outright menace now chilled the room. I set the cup down and smiled. Grandfather, you're old. Manhattan isn't your private chessboard anymore. You think I'd come here without leverage? From my clutch I drew another file and laid it before him, proof that Harrison had funneled Vance assets through Caribbean shell companies. Victor's pupils shrank. His hand trembled as he flipped page after page, complexion whitening like old parchment. Where did you get this? He croaked. You don't need to know. You only need to understand. At a snap of my fingers Vance collapses. What precisely do you want then? Simple, my grin vanished. Harrison, stripped of every cent, and a press conference where he apologizes to me on camera. Impossible, Victor barked, slamming a fist on the table. Taking everything and forcing a public apology, that's worse than gutting him. Then let him die. I shrugged. You, he pointed, quivering, speechless. Grandfather, my patience is limited. I rose, slinging my bag over my shoulder. By 8 tomorrow, if I don't see the apology and papers in my lawyer's hands, this file lands where it will explode. I turned and walked out without a backward glance. He'll cave. He has other grandsons, he has only one empire. 16. At 7:50 a.m. sharp the apology went live in a coordinated front-page splash across the city's screens. Black-suited, hollow-eyed Harrison read the scripted confession, infidelity, remorse, plea for forgiveness. He looked like a soaked mongrel. Minutes later my attorney received signed divorce papers. Harrison had waived every asset and left with the shirt on his back. Manhattan's gossip feeds imploded. No one expected the dynasty divorce to end in total rout. Vivian fared no better. Tagged forever as the mistress who knew better, her brand sponsors cancelled overnight, producers recast her roles, and her side business's stocks cratered. Overnight, the rising star morphed into public enemy number one. She tried weeping selfies. I was a victim too, fooled by Harrison. Netizens weren't buying. You wrecked a marriage, deal with the fallout. Cry me a river, homewrecker. Cancel culture? You're the definition. Blacklisted across platforms, Vivian called, tears thick in her throat. Scarlett, please, she sobbed. Alex, give me one way out. A way out? I laughed coldly. When you sent me that video, did you ever think about giving me one? When you and Harrison backed me into a corner, did you ever think about giving me a way out? Words failed her. Vivian, every bit of this is your own doing. I ended the call and blocked her number. Mercy to an enemy is cruelty to yourself. That truth cost me a life to learn. 17. With all of that handled, I could finally breathe. Maxwell's headquarters, with my help, was already on solid ground, even starting to look like Manhattan's next power dynasty, and I had become Vance's majority shareholder. I thought my revenge was finished. I never expected Harrison to be so unwilling to stay beaten. That afternoon I stepped out of headquarters and a black van screeched in front of me. Several burly men jumped out, said nothing, and hauled me inside. I didn't resist, because I saw Harrison in the driver's seat. The same eyes I once adored now blazed with demented hatred. Scarlett, surprised? We meet again so soon. Grinning like a fiend, he studied me in the rearview mirror, wrists bound. What do you want? I asked, calm. What do I want? He laughed. To take you somewhere special. He gunned the engine and headed for the devil, the twisting coastal cliff road outside the city. Tree and sky blurred past, dread pooled in my stomach. 18. The van stopped at the edge of a sheer drop. He dragged me out and shoved me to the rim. High wind lashed my hair across my face. Below me, nothing but air and jagged rock. Scarlett, you think you're so smart, such a schemer? Harrison crowed behind me. Did your brilliant plan include dying here? You kill me and you're coming down with me, I said, staring into the abyss without fear. Run? Why would I run? His laugh cracked. I'm finished, no title, no fortune, only a worthless life. Dragging you to hell is the perfect exit. He advanced step by step. You know what I regret most? Not the cheating, he whispered at my ear, but that night I didn't strangle you while I had the chance. I smiled. You're pathetic, Harrison. You can still laugh? My smile enraged him, both hands closed around my throat. The suffocation returned. Just before the world went black, dazzling headlights speared up the slope, followed by the scream of sirens. Harrison's face drained of color. He gaped at the cruisers racing toward us, then back at me. You triggered SOS? Choking, I managed a grin. From the instant he'd yanked me into the van, my smartwatch had auto-dialed 911 and live-streamed our GPS coordinates. Harrison, I rasped, the game changed. He froze, despair flickering across his features. Police cruisers fishtailed to a stop. Harrison, you're surrounded. Release the hostage, now. His arms tightened, I felt him consider the leap. At that instant a familiar figure sprang from the lead car, Derek, my college confidant, now Manhattan's sharpest trial lawyer, the man I once turned down for the sake of family alliance. 19. Harrison, don't. Derek's voice cracked with panic. Harrison brightened as if he'd found salvation. Derek, perfect timing. Tell them this is all a misunderstanding. Scarlett brought herself here. I'm innocent. Even at the precipice he tried to spin his lies. Derek ignored him, eyes fixed on me. Scarlett, hold on. Suddenly my nerves were no longer the only thing keeping me upright. Derek, I whispered. Ignored, Harrison yanked me closer, roaring, stay back. One more step and we'd both go over. The scene froze. Derek raised empty palms and inched forward. Harrison, it's not too late. Kidnapping with no injuries buys you just a few years. Add a body and you're done for life. My life is already over. Harrison raged. That which ruined me. If I go down, she goes with me. He shifted his weight toward the void. Scarlett, duck. Derek barked. Instinct bent me forward. Crack, one clean rifle shot split the night sky. The hands around my throat went limp. Harrison folded, a red puncture blooming between his eyes. SWAT sniper. Rescue complete. Derek sprinted forward and wrapped me in shaking arms. It's over. You're safe, he murmured. Green apple cologne, so familiar, washed over me, the scent of campus summers long past. Only then did I cry, the first tears since I'd begun my counterstrike, not for Harrison, but for survival, and for the simple luxury of being cherished. 20. Harrison died that night. Attempted kidnapping, armed resistance, shot on scene. The news barely rippled through Manhattan. A has-been financier's fall drew no mourners. Vance, slammed for tax evasion and asset laundering, was padlocked. Don't expect forgiveness just because he apologized. Victor's hair turned snow-white overnight, a stroke left him bedridden for life. Vivian's end was equally ugly. Blacklisted, drowning in debt, she sold herself to lecherous tycoons. One afternoon a wife dragged her naked from a hotel suite, beat her senseless, and dumped her in the street. The clip went viral, a national punchline. She cracked, institutionalized in a psychiatric ward. Poetic, really. With Derek steering the paperwork, I liquidated every hidden Vance holding and swallowed the conglomerate whole. Vance vaulted to the top of Manhattan's food chain. Maxwell and I became the city's new legend. As for a second wedding, someday, maybe. Right now, life is perfect. The end. Thank you for listening to the story today. If you liked this video, give us a thumbs up and share it with friends. We're eager to hear your thoughts in the comments, drop your opinions and don't forget to subscribe for more gripping tales. See you next episode.